these new racehorses that are in the market. We have got to keep moving forward. We're behind and we need to get ahead again.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the State of Soy. I'm Aaron Putzi. You can't have a conversation right now about soybeans without the topic of Brazil coming up. And a couple of soybean farmer leaders recently traveled to Brazil to see firsthand what's going on in that country. We know it's a mover. I'm visiting with Suzanne Shearburn, ISA president, and Randy Miller, immediate past president of ISA. So you were in Brazil. A headline or two from your time there in the country that your fellow Iowa soybean farmers would find of interest. Suzanne, you first.
Contrary to popular belief, they are creating more land for soybeans, corn, cover crops, etc.
And that's about a 2 to 3 year process going from grazing land into soybean production?
It goes from Cerrado, where they clear it, to grazing. You are correct on that, and then they start the row crop process.
Wow. And Randy, it's always grow time there.
Yes, they've got 3 crops a year they can grow, starting with a soybean crop, transitioning to a corn crop, and then to a cover crop that they can graze. So they are continually producing a crop down there. There's no off time.
And you visited Brazil for the primary purpose of really sizing up the competition, right? And then being able to bring back the information as you continue to lead the soybean organization forward. What are some topics that, as you spent time in Brazil, that you looked at, Randy, and said, okay, that's something that the soybean industry here in Iowa or the U.S. needs to really look at closely, because that's really going to impact our bottom line as Iowa soybean farmers?
I would say one of the things is the ability to continue to grow our yields, to produce a crop that's sustainable and of high quality. It'll continue to be an issue. They don't see it as much of an issue as we do, but I think we're light years ahead as far as sustainability and the way we raise crops.
Brazil's doing a really good job of promoting that the farmers are the answer to environmental concerns and issues. They've taken on the stance that we are the answer. We are how Brazil is going to move forward in sustainability, in the whole climate issues. They are the answer. And you got to give them credit for that. And the area we went into is in the northeast quadrant of Brazil. And they just started clearing this land in, 77 approximately? And so they're watching what has happened in the southern part of Brazil. They're watching us what happened in the U.S. and they're taking away from that so they get it right this first time.
So they're learning, and they can just move it that much quicker based on what they see as happening and applying it there locally.
Yep.
What is something, Suzanne, that you look to from your vantage point as an Iowa farmer and a soybean leader, something that the industry here close to home really needs to hone in and look at to perhaps remain competitive in this global marketplace given the rise of Brazil?
Well, right now, I'm afraid to say we aren't a step ahead. I believe that we are a step behind. Brazil has figured out on the carbon intensity score how to promote their products above and beyond the United States. We need to work on getting our carbon intensity scores lowered. In Brazil, they talked about no-till. Well, one thing I noticed, and I think you noticed as well, Randy, in Basalis, which is a 250,000 population city, and it's the headquarters for this region for agriculture. We did not see tillage equipment at all.
None.
So, when they talk about no-tilling in Brazil, they're serious.
So planters, tractors, and combines.
That's
pretty
exactly
much
right.
We hear a lot about the infrastructural advantage here in the U.S. True?
Very much so. The ability that we have to get a crop from the field to the end user is a matter of weeks. It's a matter of months there. The amount of time and the cost that is associated with getting that crop
But
there.
of course, that may be changing too with investments of China in the infrastructure within Brazil.
Absolutely. At the local level, you have to remember some of these farmers, their land is 150, 200 miles away from the cities, the towns, the Cargills of the world, where they are delivering. So I spoke to one farmer who she drives 150 miles to get her crop from her farm to the Cargill plant. The first half of it is all dirt roads. I wouldn't even call them gravel roads that her and her neighbors built. And then the last portion of it is cement, but it is nasty. It's not smooth. It takes a big wear and tear on their equipment, no doubt. That is a challenge yet, but we have large amounts of investment that are improving the rail as well as the ports. We had the opportunity to visit the port in São Luís, and they're excited, the Port Authority is, on adding 2 more grain handling facilities within their port system. So this portion of Brazil is a brand new frontier for soybean and corn production, and they're taking it on and happy with it and just moving forward.
I don't think it's one thing that you can lean into. I think it's got to be built upon what we've done in the past, and we've got to keep looking forward, looking for new markets, new uses, investing in research and infrastructure. We can't just sit back and go, oh, we're the cheapest, we're the best. We've got to do what we've done over the past 30, 40, 50, 60 years and continue to grow.
Yes, we cannot rest on our laurels. We're off to a good start, but if we want to get ahead with these new racehorses that are in the market, we have got to keep moving forward. Like Randy said, it's just not one piece of it. It's creating a sustainable product. It is finding our markets and working with our policymakers, because right now we're behind and we need to get ahead again.
Well, as you can see, impactful visit to the U.S. soybean industry's #1 competitor and the world's #1 producer of soybeans, Brazil.